Oh, it's a little smoky in here. Let me adjust this. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. I'm Eric Murphy. This is Skeptic Generation, and we need to talk. It is June 9th, 2024. Holy crap. We are this far into the year. I'm excited that you have joined me. I've got a special guest today. I just want to say sorry for the late start. As always, of course, tech problems are going to happen at the very, very last minute. So thank you for your patience. I am really, really excited because friend of the show is joining me, Secular Rarity. Hello,
Hey,
hello. Hey, how's it going, brother?
good man. I'm excited to be here. I always love hanging out, and yeah, we're gonna be doing this, taking calls, man, talking to people and whatnots, solving the
Yeah.
world's problems, and I don't know,
One
having fun at the
conversation at a
same time.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, something like that.
So what have you been up to, man? Before we get started.
Yeah, that's a good question, man. A whole bunch of different stuff. So I know a lot of the people here know me from doing stuff online, right? Taking calls and interviews and panels and stuff. But I also do a lot of stuff in person, and I have been thrilled over the past year that I have been working with a group of atheists and Christians in my city to put on these local events where literally we get together and we just talk. And sometimes it's two people on a stage and a moderator, and they hash it out for an hour, and then we have audience questions for like 30 minutes or so. But last time what we did was we literally just got about 30 people together at a local restaurant, and we all just stood around in a circle and asked questions and gave each other our thoughts. And it was amazing, man. It was so awesome to see people that like truly disagree about the most important things in life, but talking with each other in a way that was clearly compassionate and friendship forward. And it was just, oh, it was so great, man. It was so fun. I mean, new friendships were made, and it was a good time, man. It was good. So I love doing that stuff. I love being able to do that more and more. And yeah, man. So when I'm not here, that's kind of what I'm getting into.
Uh, I think that is really, really cool, brother. It looks like we've got a bit of an echo coming from you, and
Oh
I'm just.
gosh, nobody wants that.
I mean, isn't this always the way it goes? Right? It's
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's because honestly, Eric, it's because we're suppressing the truth and righteousness here. I mean, if we would just give our souls to God, all of our tech would be fixed. I'm pretty sure that's in the Bible. It's like Psalms or something. Pretty sure.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that.
Something.
Jeez. Okay, so let's see if this fixes it.
All
I
right.
made an adjustment, and I'm not sure, but we're going to find out. I'm just keeping an eye on chat to see if you are still echoing when they say that. But
Oh boy.
all right, so I can see that we have a caller,
Ooh.
and this is going to be interesting because the adjustment that I just made means that you may not be able to be heard by callers.
Okay.
So
Well, if the echo's gone, that's big because I know that's frustrating. So.
I kind of really need you to be able to hear callers though.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. That is
um,
also important.
let me see here. So you're getting that. What if instead I give you, hey everybody, this is just me doing some tech support while doing the show. Um, Fun, and I appreciate y'all hanging with me on it. Still an echo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, SR,
Yeah.
we're gonna need to figure this out, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I can talk more or less
Mm-hmm.
depending on how helpful that will be for you to figure out the problem. Although, unfortunately, that's about the extent of my skills here. So, can entertain can entertain the people, although like
No,
that might be difficult.
No, you're good. So I've kind of adjusted the best that I can.
Okay.
Let's hop in and talk to a caller. Really hope
Let's
this
see.
if it gets fixed. All right. So our first caller is Joe in Texas. It says they want answers to things we can't see and are afraid of. Joe, you are live on the show.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right. SR and Joe, can y'all hear each other?
I can hear you, Joe. Can you hear me?
I can.
All right. So, Joe, what did you want to talk about?
Well, I am a lifelong atheist.
Okay.
I told your screener I'm a skeptic. I was raised in an evangelical home. At 5 years of age, I thought God failed me, and so I never believed.
Okay.
The whole world around me believed, and I didn't. And by the time I was in high school, college, I started to search for proof of God and couldn't find it. What I found was 1,000 belief systems that didn't hold water. They all had fatal errors in my mind.
Okay.
So I went through my whole life thinking I was an atheist. The reason I've watched you from the very first, both of you, is because people are so confused. They get so, what I think is religion silly.
Religious what?
It's silly.
Well,
Completely silly.
I mean, it seems
And
that way from the outside, but when you're in it, it seems perfectly fine. It seems perfectly
right,
rational.
right. And it's really scary is what I see with my friends is we're coming out of a pandemic. We couldn't see this virus. We couldn't half believe it sometimes. And we wanted somebody to protect us. And we lost 1 million people. And I think people are so frightened to give up, or as they come out of religion, they get so panicked over things that just don't make any sense, but they don't know what else to do. And so I thought I'd call with my message of just relax and go with it.
Okay. Is there
Yeah.
so? I generally we want to take calls that have a back and forth that we can engage with. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about, or do you just kind of want to?
And I think my biggest question is how to approach people that so need their religious system. They need that community, and yet they're scared. And the questions I get are, how can I not believe? How can I not believe? And I don't have an answer to that. Except it doesn't make any sense
Can I jump
to
in
me.
a little, Joe? And
Yeah, you guys.
because
Go
I
for
think
it.
you said some good stuff for sure. And the first place I want to start with is just to make sure. I think it's always really important that we know where we're starting from, right? What our intentions are. And I always want to caution people to start off with by saying, make sure that when you're having these conversations, this is a consensual back and forth thing with these people, right? Don't just go talking to, your buddy and just trying to strip religion from them or anything, right? Their belief in God, right? Like, make sure that these are folks that are saying, like, hey, I want to be challenged. Like, here are the things that keep me believing. Here's why I'm involved in this, and I want somebody to provide pushback and so forth, because that's really important, right? Because if you're on that side of just coming in as like, you're the stereotypical atheist just trying to tell everybody their stuff is stupid, right? Like, you're not going to accomplish that goal even. And you're going to lose
Right.
friends along the way, right? So with that in mind, and you seem like a genuine person, from us just chatting and stuff here, right? So I feel like that's probably where your head is. But with that, what I would say is, you started right there listing off a handful of specifics. And that would be what I would suggest you do, if somebody says to you, and so many believers will say something like this, that it's a cumulative thing, right? It's not just that I read the Gospels, yeah, that was important. It's not just that my pastor is awesome and my church is super cool and we have potlucks every Tuesday, right? It's not just that, but it adds. It's a part of it. Just go point by point with them. It's going to take a long freaking time, Joe. But if these are genuine conversations, that's good that it takes a long time, because you'll develop that friendship. You'll become better people together. Your ideas will be strengthened. Their ideas will be strengthened. They may never, and this is okay. They may never say to you, hey, Joe, you're freaking right, man. You got me. God's not real. Jesus didn't die on the cross and get resurrected. You're right, buddy. But in that process, they may soften a lot of their views and strengthen their skepticism. And that in and of itself is a really, really huge victory, man. So yeah, I think point by point is a good way to do it. They say, hey man, my pastor's amazing and the community that I have is phenomenal. Tell them about this show. Be like, hey, you gotta go hang out in the Discord after show once, man. You'll see some great community, okay? And just keep going from there, man. Next, it's the historicity of the Bible. Point them over to, Dr. Josh and Dr. Kip, and they'll help with that. So
I don't think I have anything to add to that.
People get so frightened.
Well, I mean, it's easy to understand, if your entire view of the world, everything is through that lens, then, if you shake that, you shake everything. So it's, I think that, like, I'll give you an example. I have a recent, I just this last week, a friend of mine got into a bit of a fight with somebody on Facebook. As you were wont to do, it was with an atheist who had said that all religion is mental illness.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is, like, it is so condescending that the idea that you're going to reach somebody like that is
right.
ridiculous. Not only that, but what a deeply dismissive view, to take of people who have a lot of different reasons to believe. And it's I think that it is a type of, I think it's a kind of a cruelty for atheists to do that, and it's deeply disrespectful. And I think that when we stand as peers, that's when we listen to each other. And if you are going to dismiss somebody as mentally ill before the conversation, don't expect that conversation to go anywhere.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
For sure.
yeah.
And so,
For instance,
and so I just want to, like, contextualize in this conversation, the idea that, oh, people are so scared. Not everybody is, but it can definitely be, something that prevents people from listening. So yeah, I definitely want to go there. Before we continue any further into the conversation, I do want to make sure that we get a couple more calls in on the line. So I'm just going to do a quick shout for callers.
Call us.
Okay, so hold on just a second, Joe. For anybody else who wants to call in, we would love for this episode to continue. And to do so, we need you. Consider calling 412-SKEPGEN. That's 412-753-7436. Or you can go to tiny.cc/SKEPGEN for that nice crystal clear audio. Either way, it is toll free. We are taking on the cost so that you can just focus on talking to us. That said, we're back. Hey.
And okay. You provided the carrot. I'll provide the stick, you guys. For anybody that's ever seen me on these shows, if you don't call in and talk to us about something, I'm going to make up stuff to talk about. And I've got very weird and uncomfortable things that, while not breaking the terms of service for YouTube, will make all of us very upset that you didn't call in. So call the show, because otherwise that's going to happen. So
I kind of want that to happen.
Is threatening your audience good? Is that conducive for me coming back? Is that
No, just
so?
you threatening to say something really, really,
Oh, I've got
concern.
some. I went to the optometrist over the last couple of days, and I learned some information, you
Okay,
guys,
okay,
which I
okay,
will
okay,
tell
okay.
if we don't have callers.
I thought
Okay.
you were going to say like proctologist, but
No,
oncologist
no,
is
no.
better. Oncologist is better. So, Joe, was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Well, basically, what you say to people who are questioning without, like you say, and I don't believe religion is a mental illness.
Sure.
I
So,
think,
you're
for instance,
to someone who's
uh,
questioning, yeah.
yeah, um, I
So,
lost my husband many years ago.
mhm,
Afterwards, out of horrible grief, I was sure I saw him. I was sure he walked in the room and talked to me and told me everything was okay. He too had been a lifelong skeptic or agnostic or whatever label we want to put on it. Uh, it is still sitting here today as real as it was when it happened. But I know enough about human physiology to know that this was more likely than not created out of my own grief and need.
yeah.
And these are stories that are repeated over and over, and people say, well, see, there's an afterlife, there's a God. And yet, I know enough about physiology to know I probably, likely created
Hallucinating.
what I needed at the time. So I'm not going to tell anybody they're mentally ill.
Yeah.
But what answers do we give people for
So,
faith and courage when things are tough?
what you do is
Yeah.
you offer resources.
Hmm.
Instead of solving the problem for them, you need to give them the tools to solve the problem themselves. And to do that, just any studies, any good information that can help them along the way is going to be beneficial. But what you tell somebody kind of carries this implicit talking at them, and really what you need to do is give them the tools so that they can find it themselves. It's one of those teach a man to fish thing. You don't want to give them the fish, you need to teach them how to.
It is one of
Mm-hmm.
the hardest things in the world to sit there as somebody is struggling and in pain, clearly, as you
Right.
desperately want to take that suffering away from them. It is so incredibly difficult to sit there and simply be the support, simply be the person
Right.
that listens. But guess what? That is such an incredibly valuable job, because exactly what Eric said, play your role. Your role is not to fix this for them. Your role is not to fish for them. Okay. Your role is to say, hey, there's actually some really good, robust information out there. And if you go talk to some of these people and you keep at it, even when it gets tough, you keep going, you'll learn how to fish. And then when they come back to you next week and they go, I fucking tried it and it sucks and I can't do it and I hate this. Remember, your job is not to fish for them. Your job is to say, it's tough and I'm sorry and that sucks and I'm here to support you.
Yeah.
Again, that's hard, but that's incredibly important, man.
And I do want to reflect what's going on in the live chat, because the live chat, it has as a group is saying the same thing, and that is that it's one thing to have an issue with doctrine or whatever it is that they have issues with, but if it is fear of hell or some kind of religious trauma, what they recommend and what we recommend is reach out to Recovering from Religion Foundation. If you know somebody who is struggling and needs support, Recovering from Religion Foundation is a great resource to give them. And finding local community to tag in with. If you have somebody you're talking to that's religious and they don't necessarily plug them in with an atheist group. Just find a group that's not their church. Go play Dungeons and Dragons together. Go play, board games or
Oh,
sports, anything. Find community and show them that religion does not have a stranglehold on community, because that can be something that ties people in as well. That said,
And
Joe, Oh, go ahead. We'll wind up wrapping up.
I just real quick wanted to say, I think that point is spot on, Eric. I mean, because what so many of us don't think about when we think about community, we think about the gathering that happens on the Sunday morning, right? Or the Wednesday night and the prayer service. But what we're not thinking about is the fact that every other freaking night of the week, there's a game night, there's a movie night, there's a bring your kids night, there's a dodgeball night. We as humans need more than just this. Is God real? Is God not real? Great, we talked about it. Let's go bowling. Let's be friends.
Yeah.
Let's hang out together. And I think that was just a great point, Eric. So I wanted to say that.
Oh,
Anyway,
appreciate
that's it, Joe.
Right, yeah.
Hey, Joe.
Absolutely. I hadn't thought of that. I really hadn't. It seems so basic. But yeah, especially because I live in what we laughingly call the Bible Belt.
Hey, Joe.
But people have found that that's not working for them, obviously.
Yeah. Hey, Joe.
And yeah.
I know we want to cycle through to another caller to give room for that. But is there anything else that you wanted to say before we go?
No, I just really appreciate all you do, because I think it's important to have these other resources, because it's been a tough time for a lot of people, all of us. We don't have an explanation of why this world keeps falling apart around us. And I think what you do is phenomenal.
Well, thank you, Joe. We appreciate you.
Yeah. So thank you for talking to me.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks, man. We appreciate you. So we do have a caller. I don't have to talk about.
No. We've got a few, which is great.
I got it ready if I need to, though.
No.
I'm keeping it. I'm holding this sword of Damocles above you guys. I'm just saying.
I just that what Joe said at the end there just got me thinking. That's all for just a second. It's we don't have an explanation for why things seem to be falling apart all around us when we look at the world, and it makes more sense, honestly, if you realize that it's because it's not part of some grand master plan. It's just happening. We're just bumping into each other. But
and I think that validation of when a believer says to you, yeah, but shit's kind of tough. I think that moment where you just you're not a debater, you're not a philosophy bro, you're just a person, and you just go, yeah, it is, man. Yeah, it is. Let's
go bowling.
Yeah, right. Let's go bowling.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
I'm not sponsored by any bowling league or anything. You guys just we can do other things. We could play air hockey or ping pong. It doesn't have to be.
Fair enough. I do also want to just let people who are waiting in the call-in queue know our call screener Bree is doing their absolute best to get to everybody. I do want to shout out to Bree. Bree is sick and still at home taking calls, is the only one who's doing this today, and we sincerely appreciate you. And so we're all doing our best. Thank you so much. All right.
Be kind.
Yeah. All right, let's talk to Atheopagan. Have you, Atheopagan and Elliot, have you all met?
Yeah, we've talked a couple of times.
We did. Yeah, I think yes, we have. Yep.
Yeah. Rock on. Hey, welcome to the show. How's it going?
Surviving, thriving, breaking the chains that bind, as we all know.
I love that.
How you doing?
Nice. What do you want to talk about?
I got two topics today.
All right, hit us with the first.
First one. I don't know how much conversation is going to happen. It's more like me telling a story, and then you're going to basically say, "Oh, you should do this." So we'll get that one out of the way quick.
We're going to do the ask. What was the column? Ask Abby, or
yeah.
Was that it? Dear Abby.
Dear Abby. That's what it was.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is the Dear Abby segment of Skeptic Generation.
Dear Abby segment. Okay.
Go ahead.
Dear Abby. I told this story a while ago. I was doing a ritual thing that me and my friends do every year during Samhain, otherwise known as Halloween. Not Samhain, to all of you who pronounce it as everyone else does. And there was a person there that was a dear friend of mine, somebody I even considered my sister, a trans woman who I have been friends with for 12 years or more. And she very much enjoyed poking fun at me for the things that I do and did.
Okay.
And one of the things that she did then was when I was, and this is something that happened every year, something that we did every year, but yet she always seemed to make it so that it made everything very uncomfortable. And the way that she made it very uncomfortable that year is she basically started making Nazi jokes as I was preparing the ritual.
Oh, that's cringe.
So like, because I am an atheo heathen, so I engage with the Norse stuff. And like, as I'm setting up, she's like making joke after joke after joke after joke that, you know, all this is silly and that, oh, you know, the Nazis will think that you're a Nazi and blah, 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 blah. And to the point where I stopped. I refused to, I stopped setting up and I just sat at the fire and I moped for the rest of the night because I felt like I was pulled out of the moment.
Yeah.
And a couple of months ago, she came out as an atheo witch, like V.
I honestly thought you were going to say she came out as a Nazi. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know that's. I'm sorry. My mind goes weird places.
Fascinating.
I'm sorry. I'm just. You just put the image in my head of somebody trying to come out as a Nazi. Mom, Dad.
Mom, Dad.
I'm a fascist.
I like Hitler.
I'm sorry, atheo pagan, get out of my head. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
So I, in that moment, I felt such rage.
Yeah.
To the point where I went numb, because I was like, you know, I have been doing this for years, and I was engaging with you on it, and I thought you had enjoyed it up until the point where you started making Nazi jokes, and then I stopped doing it around you. And then she came out and she started doing the Wiccan stuff. So it's like atheo Wiccanism, basically, for all the laymen out there.
Yeah.
And here was where I felt like I couldn't engage with her on it, in terms of like my empathy and my care for her, was that she said that the reason why she didn't engage with it is because her newfound spirituality was tied with her I wouldn't say newfound, but more openly found gender identity. And at that point, well, I was about to engage with her about like, well, what the fuck? You know, you did this to me a couple of years ago. Now you're doing this. And now she's getting into the fact that now that she's an open trans woman, that now she feels comfortable to getting engaged with Wiccanism. And I felt like, okay, well, I don't feel like I was comfortable enough to be like, okay, well, you know, fuck you for doing this to me and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what to do in that moment, and I've been thinking about it every day for the past like couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, I have definitely. I feel like I've been on both sides of this.
Yeah.
You know, really, you know, coming from a place of empathy, I'm sure you probably recognize that memory is probably something that makes her cringe real hard. You know, I know plenty of people who, before coming to terms with the fact that they were gay, used a lot of homophobic slurs. And maybe the maybe that might be similar, or maybe it could just be that, you know, she's changed a lot over time, and whatever the case may be. Have you talked to her about this?
So I was gonna
kind of superfluously. I basically so we set up a grove in a park nearby that's hidden. It's basically a stone circle, and we built that together. And basically what I said was, you know, if you had just fucking come out about this to me years ago, we would be able to be doing this. Like, we would have something else set up to the point where,
Sure.
You'd
but
have.
I didn't actually engage with the emotions I felt. No.
So, I think that being forward and saying, "Hey, I'd love to talk to you," and then say, this thing that happened a while back. Was it last year? You said last
It was
two salons
which
ago.
part? Yeah, it was 2 salons ago.
Got it. If you say, "Hey, 2 salons ago, this thing happened. It really hurt my feelings," and I'm still hurt from that, and I wanted to tell you that that made me really, really angry, and you're now in this place, and I want to embrace you, but I'm still holding on to this anger from what happened, and I want to talk to you about it. I think that that is a very reasonable thing to do, and it may give them an opportunity to then view it without having to feel defensive because they were a different person then. And it sounds like you know that, but there's this anger that is just festered that it's got to come out, and you don't need to necessarily yell, but say, "Hey, this is something that made me really, really upset, and I've been holding on to this anger, and I don't want to anymore."
Right.
Yeah, that they may have a totally different memory, right, of how that went down, because that's just what happens as people, right? There's 5 people all sitting around the fire, and everybody's throwing jokes, and everybody's laughing and having a good time, and for you took that one comment, and it really stuck with you, and it mattered. And like, for the other 4 people, maybe honestly they just don't even remember it specifically. It is possible, right? They're like, "Oh shit, I don't remember saying that exact. I remember we were all kind of joking, but um
Yeah.
but just moving on without addressing those feelings inside of you is never going to provide you that catharsis, is never going to give you that space to put the stamp on it and close the book and say, like, okay, we can actually move on. Because even if you just now embrace this new aspect of your friend and just go, "Hey, I'm just so glad you turned the corner, and now you're on board, and we could just do this together. That's awesome." There's always going to be that little bit in the back of your mind. And
Yeah.
I have found, and this isn't from me, this was from a friend of mine. A lot of the times when he comes to me and he wants to have one of these like serious heart to hearts, we're just going to take a few minutes and we're going to really talk about some personal shit. It's gonna get deep. It's gonna be a little uncomfortable. We both may need a minute in the middle of the conversation to collect ourselves and come back to it. But when he's ready to do that, he'll come to me and just straight up say to me, he'll say, "Elliot, I want you to know something. I care about you so much. I value you as a friend, and I want to talk about something that may be personal, maybe a little difficult. But I want you to know this entire time, I don't want you to hold back. I want you to give me your honest opinion. I want you to be direct with me, and you tell me where I'm wrong, and I want to grow with you. I want to learn with you because I care about you." And framing stuff like that can be really, really valuable. And it starts to make those conversations less difficult as it goes on, because I know this. I know Pedro. We're friends. We're buddies. We love each other, man. And so like when he comes to me now and there's a difficult conversation, it's like, "Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. Friendship. We're pals. We're in this together. Like, yeah, talk to me." It's like, "Man, what you did last week, it upset me. I felt like you came at me a little hard." And, there's going to be that moment where I kind of get defensive, because we all do that. And I'm like, what I said was right. It was, but then I immediately remember who's talking to me. I immediately remember it's my friend. I'm like, they give a shit about me. And so I instantly start to give a shit about them.
And even if
and that just may help.
Yeah. Yeah, and even if it's not that close of a friendship, you like when you frame that about yourself and you go, "That hurt my feelings." This thing hurt my feelings. You're not necessarily saying, you're a bad person.
Right.
But you're just saying, "This thing that happened, it hurt my feelings. Those Nazi jokes really hurt my feelings." you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're entitled to that. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, what an interesting thing on an atheist show to have a conversation about.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
But
you know, we all bash his name now because of the direction he's gone. But Sam Harris did get into the whole like engagement with spirituality, even as an atheist. And there are some. I mean, as an atheo-pagan, I can't really say that I'm against any of what he said in that point.
I bash Sam Harris for entirely different reasons.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. We ready for contention now that I've had my cathartic ask? What was it
let's
again?
do it. Let's fight.
Yeah, Dear Abby. All right.
Dear Abby,
hit it. What do you got?
Okay. Ignorance is bliss. I've been thinking very heavily on that topic or that saying recently. I have had an issue with a particular image.
Okay.
About 6-7 years ago, a image came out of NASA, not Nassau, where they were able to photograph two galaxies basically merging.
Mm-hmm.
And in that image, a black hole shot out of the two galaxies at like light speed. And ever since then, I have been terrified at the thought of our solar system running into a black hole.
Yeah.
And it's a fear that I have not been able to shake.
Yeah.
And it made me start thinking about the idea of, is there a point in humanity's trajectory where knowledge of how the universe works and how utterly
terrifying
and also how little we can do to react to it.
Yeah, how impotent we are.
Humanity go before we basically go nihilistic?
So I absolutely have an answer for that. I think we should go nihilistic. I'm there. It's great. The water's fine. Join. Come on in. It's it's gonna be okay. That said, what other options do we have? The only other option that we have is lying to people. Taking on some kind of parental figure role where we are filtering what people get to know because we don't think that they can handle it. And I think that that is a level of condescending and like nanny state craziness that I'm just not willing to be. I'm not willing to do that. I cannot take on the role of being so condescending as to think that I know what other people's poor little brains can't handle. We need to be charitable enough to respect adults, to give them all of the information so that they can make the best decision possible. If we're afraid of nihilism, I'm telling you, on this side of it, it's great. It's going to be okay. And appealing to, fear of what the consequences may be. That's a rationalization. It's an appeal to consequence. It's fallacious. It's not good reasoning. And I don't think we're going to get anywhere by doing it.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Nihilism I'm a fan of. Cynicism I'm not a fan of. And I think Eric really helped lay that distinction and that line. Nihilism is just us saying, look, hey, the universe doesn't have this beautiful grand plan for us. There's no written in the stars, Cynicism is saying, because of that, let's just fucking whatever. Who cares? That's the problem. I think nihilism opens up the most absolute positive view of the universe there is, because only in that understanding that there isn't this beautiful, grand, written out play for all of us that we're just acting out, only in that recognition do you get to realize we get to make it. We get to make it whatever the fuck we want, man. And here's what's really cool. The starting point is actually awesome. Like, do you know how many different species of beetle exist in this world? And they're phenomenally different from each other. Do you know how
more
many
than the
species
amount
of
of humans
shark?
in the world, right? Basically,
Exactly. It's an
there are more
insane
species
amount.
than there are humans. Yeah.
Right. It's insane. There are more than 12 species of shark that bioluminesce. That's phenomenal. The starting point that we have right now is incredible. There's still some fucked up shit about it. Don't get me wrong. It is absolutely not where I think it should be and where so many people think it should be and where it can be. But here's the best part. All of that can be changed because there is no plan. There is no destiny. There is no guiding hand that's making all this happen or not happen. No, we get to say when the earthquake comes and destroys our city, we rebuild it and we rebuild it better. We make it safer so that next time it doesn't happen as bad. We get to do that. That's the most beautiful view of the world you could possibly have, in my opinion. The cynicism, that's a problem. That's a problem.
I just want to give people a resource for people who are interested in this kind of philosophy. Sartre. If anyone wants to look up Jean-Paul Sartre, that is where you want to go to find this exactly. And I highly recommend it. It's really, really fun reading.
So I guess where I would counter with this is that, okay, let's say we embrace nihilism.
Okay.
But what comes with that, because we can't control where people go with that, the cynicism rises alongside of it.
Okay.
Would you rather an ever increasing amount of discomfort and unhappiness with the intelligence mounting to exponential levels, but you're going to have more suicide, you're going to have more depression, you're going to have blah, 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 blah. Would you rather that than stopping?
That's not tough to me at all, because you're creating a scenario that isn't considering the other side.
Yeah, it is a hypothetical.
Right.
Yeah. So personally, I think that if nihilism and cynicism, or depression on one side, and people feeling justified in holy wars and honor killings on the other, I mean, one feels bad, thinking, okay, I don't have a place in this universe and it's making me depressed. That's sad, sure. But if I compare that to the absolute confidence of somebody who thinks that it is okay to stone a gay person to death because their holy book said so, it's an easy choice for me. Mm-hmm. Easy choice. I would much rather everyone be depressed than people gleefully, what's the line in the Old Testament? Bashing babies' heads against the rocks. Like, easy choice.
Delighting.
Easy choice.
So I wasn't thinking about it like that. That's an interesting thought. Where my mind was going was this like really pinned in hypothetical of like, okay, we're just guaranteed for sure everybody starts embracing nihilism more, and then everybody is just now completely depressed in the world. In that scenario seems like it's pretty worse off in total. And it's hard to say, because a lot of my moral calculus is in this complex utilitarian ish kind of way, right? And so ultimately, I guess if what we're saying is we know for a fact and it definitively results in everybody having a worse off time, I think I would probably say, well, no, okay, I wouldn't want to do that, as weird as that is. But the good news, I think, is we've got a lot of data, in my opinion, that demonstrates that the recognition of the truth of the world around us is the most beneficial thing to achieving all of these wonderful things, just well-being in general. When it comes to human beings flourishing, truth is so vital. Yeah. It may be the most vital fucking thing of it. Like, that just seems to be the case. And so again, in the real deep dystopian hypothetical, okay, yeah, maybe, I don't know. Eric threw a wrench into that for me, so I'm gonna have to think some more.
Well,
But
and there's joy to be had in existentialism.
absolutely,
It's
yes,
beautiful.
yes.
So let's not assume that everyone's going to wallow in it.
Well,
And
yeah,
I definitely think that, especially multiple marginalized communities will flourish in ways that they're not now, if that was the case.
yep, yep.
So, but yeah, no, and there are things other than existentialism. There is absurdism, which, by the way, if you ever want to play chicken with the heat death of the universe, it's a rush. It's a rush. It's fun. You know? But yeah, no, I Ethiopagan. I know that we've kind of gone around a bit, but I want to give you a chance to respond before we move on to the next call.
Yeah, I think that my philosophy on this is that all we can do is learn about the universe. As I did pose the question as a thought experiment more than anything else, but I think that we can't stop learning about the universe, even if we were to suddenly
Yeah.
lose everything in terms of technology. Would get it back within the next 400 or 500 years. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't the only issue that I foresee with that is I don't know if I necessarily agree, looking at suicide rates, looking at depression rates. I don't know if more knowledge about the universe is more or less, because if I look at more third world countries, their suicide rates are lower, and usually with third world countries, unfortunately, their education levels are lower. Now that could also be a combination of other things like community and
I think there's some confounding factors here that may be coming into play with this, because I totally think you're right. From a lot of the statistics that I've seen, oftentimes more industrialized, urbanized, developed, however you want to say that, like we're seeing more and more people in those parts of the world that are experiencing these things like depression and suicidality and other things. Absolutely, where we're not seeing that in other parts of the world. But I think I wouldn't necessarily say, for instance, that the individuals in those non-urbanized, industrialized areas of the world, I wouldn't say that they're not having existential crises, right? I think they are. I think they are, because I've read some and I've heard about some from many different groups of people that had no contact with each other, never read fucking Plato or none of that stuff, right? So I think we have some confounding factors that if we, I don't know if this okay, I'm stretching a bit here, but I'm just gonna say it, okay? The confounding factors, I think, if we truly stared nihilism down the barrel, we could probably address those a little bit better. That's just my thoughts on that. Again, I know I'm stepping there a little bit. I'm making the claim. I got the burden there, but that's okay.
I don't know. The analogy that popped into my head is it would hurt to find out that your spouse was cheating on you.
Absolutely.
Does that mean
Absolutely.
that you are
rather
saving
not.
somebody by not telling them?
Yeah.
A hard truth is better than a comfortable lie.
Yeah.
Every time. And if the truth is out there and you're just wanting to hold on to that comfortable lie, yeah, that's not going to help anybody.
I agree. I agree.
Anyway, Ethiopagan, thank you for calling in. This was fun.
Yeah,
Indeed.
you.
Every time you call
yeah.
in, I have a good time. I'm grateful for you.
I am the SKEPGEN MVP.
You have a couple people to fight, but you are definitely
nomination
in the lead. Yeah.
Hey, in my culture, I can home gang and challenge somebody to a fight. So be careful about this and who's claiming what. Okay.
Look,
but I'll talk to you both. I'll talk to you both in the after show.
Sounds good. See you then.
See ya.
Yeah, before we hop over to the next call, I did want to say that we've been doing after shows on Discord, and if anybody wants to join and just hang out, I usually hang out for about a half hour, maybe a little longer, maybe a little less, depending. But the link is in the description, and everyone is welcome to join. So if you hop into the description for this video, there is a link to Discord, and we'd be happy to see you there. We do have other callers to take first, though. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Let's talk to Chase first. Chase,
Right.
you are live on the show. Oh, let me get rid of SKEPGEN here. Chase, can you hear us?
Yeah, what's happening, buddy?
Hey. What'd you want to talk about?
All right, so I guess the question is, is it dangerous to believe that God controls everything? Because I'm a little worried about my parents and their thought process. They're Calvinist Christians who believe in predestination, and so they believe that God ordained everything. And I'm not exactly sure what that means, but it's either God made or either God made it all or allowed it all as part of his plan. So from cancer and killer tornadoes to which team won the football game and who is president. But they're mad that a Democrat is president, so it seems inconsistent.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't even know where to start with that. Do you got something, Elliot, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I mean, kinda. Just because I'll touch back on what we were just kind of finishing up with SKEPGEN is, there's part of me that can just real quickly answer yes to the question. Is there something dangerous? Is there something problematic of having this thought? Like, yeah, because again, truth seems to be the way that gets us the closest to the best stuff, right? All the stuff that we seem to like, and that just doesn't seem to be evidently true, right? So if that's the way that you navigate your whole life, problems. But from there, I can also see some problems too, in the sense of if you truly believe that like all of this is completely ordained and happening because like God is actively making it happen right now, then as you watch your house burn, like, why would you stop it? Like, why would you be motivated to prevent any bad things from happening to yourself or others? Because like, how dare you try to understand the infallibility of God, the omniscience of God, and say that him burning down your house was a bad thing. Him giving you cancer was a problem. How dare you, So absolutely I can see the problems there. What you said at the end, though, Chase, I think is where you find the vast majority of people, where despite them saying that in some capacities, there are other very clear instances where they're not being consistent with that. So it's like, well, God does all this, right? So like, God must have been really super cool with us having abortions in the United States for a really long time in safe medical environments. Like, apparently God is also okay with 12-year-olds that are, attacked by family members and assaulted, and they have to give birth too. So like, I don't know, you tell me what to do with that. Yeah, it is. I would probably try to demonstrate the inconsistency that they're using this method. But again, yeah, I think in general, it's pretty easy to say there's danger here in thinking that.
Yeah.
I gotta ask, Chase, do your parents have a problem with you not believing?
Yeah, I mean, they think it's all in God's hands, though. Like they hope that I'm one of the elect, and that I'll come around eventually.
I gotta say that I cannot think of a more evil God than one like that. There's this concept in that Calvinist predestination viewpoint of pots made to be broken, right? That God has created people who, according to a divine plan, are made to go to hell and suffer forever.
Yeah, but it's biblically supported. Like, there's a lot of Bible verses about predestination. So I can see, like, I kind of feel like if you're going to be a Christian, if you're going to be taking the Bible literally, then you should probably be a predestination believing Calvinist.
Well, yes, and because there's also, you also have God intervening through the power of prayer. So God is not very consistent in the Bible. So I wouldn't necessarily say that that is the only viewpoint that you could take, but it's definitely
Sure.
one of them. And I think that that particular view of God is one that even if you did believe in them, that God would definitely be at the bottom on the list of gods that are worth worshiping.
Yeah, because not only
Yeah.
does he make pots to be broken, right? Pots that know from the very beginning that their intention is to be broken. But apparently this God also makes pots that genuinely believe, based on the potter's work and how he uses them, genuinely believes that they are not to be broken, and yet will ultimately find out that they were originally designed to just be tortured in hell for it. Like it was really weird. It's a really weird thing because yeah, that God is like
Yeah.
actively playing tricks on most of the people that think they're following him. So not a great character. But
No, I don't know if we addressed
what?
anything that you
I thought
were
we
after.
sort of did.
Yeah,
We
did
sort
we?
of
What do you think, Chase?
Yeah, no, I think this has been a great call. Yeah, I think just summing it up, my position is just that it seems like it might be dangerous, this kind of thought process, because it seems to encourage the opposite of critical thinking, and that can be problematic, like you guys were talking about, and it can enable people to not care about serious problems like human rights or the climate crisis because it's all part of God's plan or something like this. But there's a lot of I think this Calvinist viewpoint of believing in predestination and stuff to this degree is rare within Christianity. It might be maybe 20%. I don't know, but most Christians I think don't believe quite that full on into it. But this does have a tendency of popping up in regular Christian beliefs of to some degree, at least maybe not the whole predestination of who goes to heaven or hell, but more the involvement of God in our lives. That God is interacting in some positive ways to guide you or something like this. But I guess he's also neglecting the dying child who's suffering slowly.
Yeah, I mean, I I think it like speaking to the commonness of it. You are just going to get views like that all over the place. There's the Calvinists. You also have non-Trinitarians who think that Father, Son, and Holy Ghost are not all one being.
right.
You have people who, hey, non-Trinitarian is a thing. Also, you have. I actually knew a Christian pastor who was real broken up because he truly, sincerely believed that there is no hell.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that is a whole
There's
thing as well. Annihilationism, I believe, is
There's
the
good biblical references to support that thought, though. There really are. So, yeah, I get it.
yeah, or that there is just no afterlife. Yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah.
So, I do appreciate that you're at least listening to your parents and meeting them where they are.
Yeah.
And you are listening to the fact that they believe in a really, really vile God, which really sucks. I'm sorry that you're dealing with it,
Yeah,
but
yeah, and I'm trying not to interact with them too much on this issue or on politics anymore, because it often leads to a fight and stuff, and there's not much a likelihood of me changing them or them changing me. I mean, I've undergone a lot of changes, but they've been on this path for many decades, and they're sure in it. It seems, so we just try to just play Scrabble, just play with the dogs and
Yeah.
hang out.
yeah,
And that connection, man, seriously, I mean this, Jace, from the bottom of my heart. That can never be undervalued. That connection is so deeply important because for so many people, we can listen to the arguments all day, right? We can read the books, we can watch the debates, but truly, for so many of us, what will help shift us away from bad ideas is being around good people, demonstrating how those good and better ideas lead to good and better behavior. And that's what you're doing,
Yeah,
man. You're showing that you care
yeah,
about them and that they matter.
As long as it's good for you. If it's
Right,
if
right.
it yeah, if it's hurting you.
Right. You've
well,
got
I
you've
mean,
got a limited number of spoons, brother. So make sure you're using them wisely. Absolutely.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that we approach the subjects every now and then very lightly, and move on soon thereafter instead of really diving too deep into an issue. But I think it's a much better relationship than we used to have, and that's good. And
Thank you.
I used to be a believer. In my early 20s, I came to this similar type belief where I was thinking that God was talking to me through coincidences, like giving me messages of approval and
Yeah.
encouragement and things like this.
I know that.
Oh, yeah.
But then I started to think about that slowly dying child who's not being helped, and like it seemed like it was really like self-centered of me and delusional for me to be thinking that this God is helping me while not helping the child who's honestly more deserving of help than I am.
Oh yeah, I remember as a kid, I didn't think twice when my mom thanked Jesus for the good parking, spot when we went
Yeah.
when we went grocery shopping, and yet the first time somebody brought up to me that there are starving, dying children who are not getting helped while my mom is getting the premium parking spot at the grocery store, that really shook it.
God's got some weird priorities.
Really fucking weird, yeah. But Chase, thank you for calling in.
Yeah, thanks for taking my call, guys. You have a wonderful day.
You too.
Yeah, you too, man. Hey, and Chase, if you're still watching, you still hear it. Give us some updates. Like call back in, and or just show up in the Discord and post some stuff. Let us know how it goes. Good, bad, whatever. If it's good, we'll be there to cheer and support, and if it's bad, we'll commiserate and support. So
see, that is one reason why I absolutely love the Discord. For people who are watching, Elliot is here helping, volunteering, and in the Discord most weeks. And so if you want to join that conversation as part of a larger community, we are building it, and we'd love to see you there.
Yeah.
All right, you ready? Let's move on to a UK
Good call
caller.
so far.
Yeah, it's nice. Okay, so we've got Sean in the UK. Sean, you are live on the show.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Doing good. It sounds like you're coming in a little bit quiet, so I'm going to turn up the volume for you just a little bit.
Okay.
What did you want to talk about today?
Well, there was a show that you did a while ago about different kinds of logic and whether or not you can break the laws of logic.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a math PhD student, and
Nice.
I know about mathematical structures that simulate different kinds of logic that break all three laws of logic, the main classical laws of logic anyway.
Really?
Yeah.
How so? Are you talking about like wave and particle functions?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
One type of them is based on quantum mechanics. It started out that way, the Schrödinger logic. Those are now moved away from quantum mechanics as a grounding, and then they have something called quasi-sets as the foundation for them, where they have elements of sets that are indistinguishable from one another.
Okay.
So you cannot always say that X is equal to X because you can't tell the difference between X and something else.
Okay. I don't know how that breaks the laws of logic. What you're pointing?
That breaks the
Identity?
law of identity.
So I think the law of identity is a thing is what it is, right? If you're saying that we don't know or are unable to know what the thing is, then for us to know the properties of it but not know what it is doesn't seem like that makes any sense at all. It doesn't seem like it breaks a law of logic. It simply exposes an ignorance of ours that we are trying to figure out.
Yeah, it's still a question mark, but that thing is still a question mark, right? Like,
Yeah. Well, let me draw an analogy, if I may.
Yeah, go for it.
Consider the number 1/2 and the number 2/4.
Okay.
Now, these are both equal to 0.5, but the expressions themselves are not necessarily equal. The process of dividing one thing by two things is not the same as dividing two things by four things by two things.
Agreed.
But they get the same result.
Yeah.
So you have to set up an equivalence relation, which says that.
Oh, Sean, I lost you. You got quiet there. Oh no.
His audio's been clipping a little for me. It's been tough to follow all of it, but
yeah, we're trying our best. So hold on a second. Sean, are you still there? Sean? Okay, Sean, if you can still hear me, I'm going to pop you back in the queue. I would love for you to try calling again. Try hanging up and calling right back, and we'll see if that helps. And then in the meantime, I'm actually going to set this up because I really, really love this, and I think this will be useful. Okay, so here we go. I'm doing this live on the air. Let's see how this goes. Okay, you ready? All right. I've got a big spot here in between us. You see that? Okay, so we're going to create just type in a function. Let's go 3x plus 11, right?
Okay.
So one thing that I absolutely adore is that when we're talking about math and philosophy, we're talking about the same thing. And people don't really realize that the language of mathematics comes from philosophy, and it's a beautiful thing. So we have this statement 3x plus 11. If we want to view it wholly, then we're going to put these parentheses around it, and we have 3x plus 11, right? We talk about 3x plus 11. That's it, right? The law of identity is 3x plus 11 equals 3x plus 11. Cool. What about the law of non-contradiction? The law of non-contradiction means a thing can't be what it is and what it isn't at the same time. So what is the opposite of 3x plus 11? Is it 3x minus 11?
Yeah.
No, you got it. It is negative 3x plus 11.
Right.
So,
because you got to negate the x's and the 3's as well. Yeah.
Exactly. And so anytime that you're dealing with, a statement and you want to know what its negation is, right? I was talking to a good friend about this a couple of days ago. He was saying, the statement, "There's a tree in my backyard." He was saying the opposite of it is "there's not a tree in my backyard." I said, that's not exactly correct. The negation is not "there's a tree in my backyard."
Right.
It may seem weird and pedantic, but there's a really big difference there.
It is important.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, looking at it mathematically can help us kind of better understand where those pieces fall into place. So if anybody's ever wondering what the law of non-contradiction is, you can remember this, right? A thing cannot be itself and its negation at the same time. Cool. Actually, no, sorry. That's the excluded middle. I apologize. Non-contradiction. Identity. A thing is what it is. Non-contradiction. A thing isn't what it isn't. So 3x plus 11 does not equal negative 3x plus 11.
Or anything else.
That's not itself. And the excluded middle. A thing can't be what it is and what it isn't at the same time. Sorry if I confused that, but I hope that helped at least a little bit.
No, I think you did great. I think you did a good job laying it out. And I know that we can. There are some things out there. Believe me, I'm not going to go super deep into anything, but there is some stuff out there that maybe puts the excluded middle on some kind of shakier ground sometimes. But I think kind of back to what you had said at the beginning about this is, I think, more so just a lack of knowledge on our part. We still just don't know enough to be able to settle some of those cases a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know. It'd be really cool. I mean, it'd be really, really cool if, like, tomorrow, you know, somebody came out and was like, hey, so 3 fundamental laws of logic actually super wrong. We've got these other now. There's like 12, whatever, you know, like, or 2. I don't know. Like, it'd be great if we had a completely new system that developed in our lifetime.
You know what? And it has happened during numerous generations before
Mm-hmm,
us, so it can absolutely happen tomorrow.
Yeah, we discovered a new proof for the Pythagorean theorem. We didn't think that was ever going to happen. We've had this shit for, you know, how many hundreds of years. And these 2 high school kids come out and freaking rock it. Like, amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
So there's somebody who I just wanted to address in the comments that said, linguistically, though, the statement makes no sense. I disagree. And I just want to point this out here. There's a tree in my backyard. This is going to bug me, and in case it bugs anybody else, I'd rather it get addressed here. Okay. So there's a tree in my backyard. Cool. If you want to negate the statement, there is a tree in my backyard, I'm going to create another space here. Who knows if this is going to help? Then really the other piece needs to be not there is a tree in my backyard. So what statements are not there is a tree in my backyard? Literally every other statement.
Yeah, I was going to say this. Yeah.
So
water bottles on my desk is not that statement. Oh.
My name is Eric. You know, I'm eating chili covered mangoes. Ooh. Slices. Delicious. That is not there is a tree in my backyard. The statement there is not a tree in my backyard is something very specific and something very different. And because of that, if you want to deal with something in its negation, in the same way that our caller said that 1/2 is different from 2/4, even though they both as fractions can wind up as a half, there is a fundamental difference. And I think that's what I'm trying to point out here, is there's a fundamental difference between those two things. Even though you may look at 1/2 and 2/4 as being, you know, you can reduce them down, something split into quarters and something split into halves is different, and it can have a large impact on things. So take that as you will, but I just want to clarify, and hopefully that helps.
I hope this doesn't undercut everything, because I thought you did a really good job of laying that out. I looked down in the chat and Darko says, "What even is a tree really?" And it's like, you know what? Got us there, man. Yep, got us there.
Okay. Yep. Hold on.
Hang it up.
So that gets us into deductive logic, right?
Mm-hmm.
The reason that we can use deductive logic, right, is because we are using our human definitions of things. Right. If we're defining it as such, then we can treat it as such and move on. Right. And so long as we are creating these premises and defining them into play, defining them such that that's the case, then we're good to go. Right. You're going to find that at the core of every deductive logic, each premise is a tautology in and of itself. You know, the reason why there are no married bachelors is because a bachelor, by definition, is someone who's unmarried. Right. It is a tautology, and it's only when we build those, you know, the roundness of circles, that we wind up getting able to do deductive logic in the first place. So, yes, and what is a tree really? A tree is what we have defined it to be.
Right. Right.
It is not. It doesn't make you feel better, but then again, at the same time, like, what is our other choice? Is there some platonic tree upon which all other trees are taking a part of it? No, you know, we're not Platonists here. Right. And so because of that, we have to understand that we're defining things and then using those definitions to understand the world around us. Now, the question is, because that caller dropped and they're trying to call back in, and I don't have another caller, but I'm having too much fun with this to wind anything down. So actually, while we're talking, I should probably plug the phone number, shouldn't I? 412-SKEPGEN, that's 412-753-7436, or tiny.cc/SKEPGEN. Call in, talk to us, get Eric off of his soapbox. Totally understood. In the meantime, you're stuck with me. Okay.
I have
hit me.
I have a story. I could tell something real quick. It's not like super, crazy or anything, but it's interesting. It's something that happened to me recently. And it's that thing that I was kind of threatening that I would tell about if we didn't have callers. So, do you want me to lead in with this one? This is soft. It's a softball. We can get worse. So,
so
what are you thinking?
Well, they're trying to call back in, and it looks like they're having some issues. Unless you want me to talk about the definition of trees, you go ahead.
Finish up this thought. Give us the definition of trees, and if we still don't have anybody, I will tell this story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not so much that we're. Let me take a second. What I'm trying to say is, what I'm trying to get to is capital T truth. I believe that we can make deductive decisions, deductive arguments about married bachelors. Just fine, right? As long as we're using those definitions. But I don't think that necessarily indicates a capital T truth, because we're using the definitions that we're creating. I feel like there are some relationships in nature that do get us to kind of a different kind of truth. And I'm thinking about, like, what is the relationship between the diameter of a circle and its circumference? The relationship is 3.141579 units pi. Mm-hmm. What if we weren't doing it in base 10? It wouldn't be 3.141, but the relationship of it would still be the same. The relationship would still be 3 and a bit, no matter how you parse that. And those things are something else entirely. I know that might be just a little too much for people, but it's something that I really enjoy. Okay, well, we have somebody who's getting screened. Talk to me. What's your story? What do you got?
Okay. So, I wear contacts. I wear glasses. I've been, doing that for a real long time. So, my optometrist and I, we know each other fairly well now. We've been going to, been seeing this guy for a long time. Nice guy. Wonderful guy. I'm always fascinated, by the way, real quick. I'm always fascinated by when I go to the optometrist, because, like, apparently looking at your eyes can tell a lot about you on the inside, which is crazy. And now they do this thing where, like, they're literally just taking pictures of the back of your eyes, which is amazing. Like, our technology is phenomenal. Okay. Well, so I discovered when I was there, my doctor said to me, he said, "Man, you're going to need to get some foam, some shampoo for your eyelashes." And I said, "Oh, I didn't know this was a thing." Yeah. I didn't know this was a thing. What's going on? And he said, "Well, when I'm looking at your eyes, right, microscopically, I can see that you have bugs. You have there's a particular type of bug that really loves humans' eyes." Now, here's the slightly uncomfortable part. Again, this is just a softball, though, people, okay? You all have them. Right here, right now.
This is true. Everyone has mites in their eyelashes. That's the thing.
All of them. Just every single one of us. There's nothing you can do about it, okay? You all have them. They're crawling on your eyelids right now, okay? So,
way to freak everyone out. This is great. Okay. Also, be aware that you have a tongue in your mouth right now. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
So apparently, my mites have developed enough of an ecosystem, right, that they are causing irritation on my eyelashes. And so to get rid of them, I have to shampoo my eyelashes like twice a day now. And so,
Really?
I mean, it's not like terrible or anything. It's just a quick little squirt, and I just go like this for a few minutes. It makes my eyes feel fresh, I will say. But yeah, I just wanted to give everybody that little insight into me.
Oh dear God.
You know, I do have bugs on my eyelashes, and they have apparently been banging so much so that they have started to cause irritation on the lashes. And I just want to let everybody know that you also have these bugs. And so if you start noticing irritation, go to your doctor and see if you can get some eyelash shampoo. So they'll make them luxurious and soft.
oh dear God. I'm sorry.
This is the audience's fault, Eric.
No,
you gotta blame them.
Yeah.
We have to. We have
You've got
to hold
those
them
big,
accountable.
you've
for
got
not
those big beautiful lashes, and nature just couldn't handle it. That's what it was. That's exactly what it was.
They saw it, and they were just like the mites. The mites had been traveling.
They found the promised land.
It was like coming upon the redwoods. You know, just these gorgeous. Oh my God!
Oh no!
Is anybody still watching us now?
I don't know. I hope not. I hope not. I'm just imagining the mites like working their way up your back like the Oregon Trail. You know. All right. Let's. Oh dear God! All right, Austin in Maryland. Please save me.
Save us.
I'm super interested in the mite talk. Actually, I had no idea that this was a thing.
Oh no!
It's true, Austin. Right now, on your face, you are being colonized by a whole host of different species of bugs. So, yeah, it's true.
Kiyu Tomiyaki in the comments says, "SR, you have ruined my Sunday."
I'm so sorry. Much love.
All right, Austin, you want to talk about building bridges with the theistic and conservative people? Talk to us. What do you got?
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. I certainly appreciate the opportunity. I guess for me, right now in my life, just very quick backstory. I really deconstructed about 10 years ago.
Okay.
I grew up very evangelical, very enmeshed in that community.
Ooh. Were you my brand? Were you my brand of evangelical?
I'm sorry? I mean, I actually don't know exactly what brand you were.
So Calvary Chapel, non-denominational, quote unquote, born again Christian.
So my parents both grew up Catholic.
Okay.
I grew up Lutheran, but in what I would consider to be a pretty big megachurch.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Thank you. It gives context.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Thank you for clarifying. I appreciate that. So for me, I, now that I'm, somebody who is, out in the workforce, doing the 9-to-5 thing, I know a lot of people who I respect immensely to some degree or another, as a person who also happens to be very conservative, very evangelical, and very enmeshed in that community.
Okay.
What I've been trying to do recently is, obviously, as a humanist, there are things I don't budge on. There are things I'm not interested in giving anybody any ground when it involves human rights or, the rights of minority communities or things like that. What I'm trying to do and what I wanted to see how you all felt and what guidance you all had to offer is the idea of being able to find common ground with people who follow those ideals while also making sure that you are still maintaining your own consistent sense of morality. And whether you had any advice.
That is a tough tightrope to walk.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, so first off, I think that if you know, first off is a disclaimer. Elliot and I are two assholes on the internet. We are just
being generous.
We are just some guy, each of us, and because of that, we are not authorities and we are not necessarily people you want to take advice from. People still ask us, and so we will talk about it, but take everything we say with a grain of salt, and do not blame us if we inadvertently destroy your relationship with your family. Okay, go ahead. Or no, you stated the whole thing, didn't you?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I went through it all. I was just wondering what guidance you guys had to offer.
Yeah, absolutely. Elliot, sounds like you have something on your mind.
Yeah, I can definitely give one thing is setting your boundaries very clearly is really important. And doing so in a way where the other person understands that this is deeply important to you, but also not an attack on them, right? Is very tough, right? Now, I'm going to say some things, okay? And you're going to probably think to yourself, like, why is that on me? You know, fucking hell, man. Why is it always on me? And in part, to be honest, Austin, it's because you want this. This is your goal. Your goal is to be somebody who has better relationships with these people that you have had rocky relationships with. And so what that means is it will take a lot of looking in the mirror. It will take a lot of who am I being and how am I behaving, right? And that doesn't mean that you compromise what deeply held values you hold, right? But it probably means that how you present them and how you draw that line has to be a little different, right? Like we may want to come back and go, what the hell did you just say? Like, do you recognize that type of rhetoric leads to trans people dying in the streets? Like, do you get that? And you want to come out super hard like that, right? And I totally understand. And I think that's valid. 100%, man. I feel that same feeling. But if our goal is in this conversation to build bridges with that person, that is not going to be an effective method for getting through to them. And ultimately, it's going to take that 10 seconds for us where we take those fucking deep breaths and we say all that shit in our head and we go, what a fucking asshole. You've got to be kidding me. How could this person fucking say that? This jackass. And you take some deep breaths and you breathe a little and you say, hey, Terry, you know, I see where you're coming from. I understand that, you know, your upbringing and your worldview kind of presents that to you. You know, I'm wondering how you would feel if I said something similar, but I just replaced the group trans people with Christians. How would you feel then if I said, well, Christians shouldn't play in sports? Well, I just don't know if we want Christians to use public bathrooms, you know, right? Maybe Bill goes, well, okay, yeah, I can see that.
I don't know. I feel
that's please.
I think you're feeding the Christian persecution complex. They may welcome that. So
you could use a different group. You could use a different, you know, and maybe that has a bit better of a sticking point. But I think when you show people that the thing that they just said, when swap this one group out for another group, it instantly becomes atrocious, right? If we swap this out for black people, if we say, people in America, if you're black, you don't get to use the public bathrooms. Everybody should instantly go, how horrible that is, right? That's terrible. That's disgusting, except for, of course, the people who are just white supremacists. And then it's like, okay, well, now that I know that's who you are, Austin, do you really care about building that bridge so much? You know?
No, not at all.
Well,
not at all.
Right.
Okay, so
go ahead,
I'm
Eric,
coming in this
please.
from a different direction.
Yeah, please.
Number one, you just made an incredible soundbite that someone could steal of you.
Well, yeah, I know.
But honestly,
I know.
earlier this episode, we got Mom, Dad, I'm a fascist. So for me, so
true,
I guess
let's
let's stick with it. So what I would say, Austin, is building a bridge with you know, somebody who's part of a group that you absolutely have a difficult time with. Limit it to the bridge. Really, I have fed the homeless with people who I absolutely despised. And I've stood elbow to elbow with people who I did not want to know. I don't want them to know what car I drove here in. More or less, you know, I would not invite them to my house. But I'm definitely glad that it's one more back that's helping carry the lumber to build, maybe an accessibility ramp in front of someone's house. When it comes to building these communities of volunteering, or just whatever bridge you're trying to build, you don't need to agree on everything with them. If you can't stand their face, their voice, or what they're saying with their face hole, limit it to the bridge that you're building. Limit it to talking about, hey, we're helping people right now. Hey, we're feeding the homeless. Hey, we're cleaning a highway. Hey, we're building this ramp, or whatever the case may be. And it can really, really suck, but at the same time, the work needs to get done. You don't need to be friends with these people. What you need to do is you need to know when it is appropriate to work elbow to elbow to make sure the thing gets done. And then go home to your friends, go home to your family, go home to the people you care about. You don't need to necessarily take all of them home with you.
Yeah, compartmentalization. That's good. Yeah, that is very helpful.
I think a lot of where I encounter people where, it's like, oh, let's try to build that bridge. I'm an educator. I work in a pretty large school. And you get a lot of people who, make the statement, oh, well, I'm socially liberal, fiscally conservative, etc.
Sure.
And, you're comfortable, like, at least in my case, I'm comfortable enough swapping ideas with those people, over, we're eating lunch for whatever half an hour a day we get. And, we're just casually, chatting and those kind of things. But, I think that it's a situation where, there are some of those people who, I do enjoy talking to, and, maybe I've been to their house for a cookout or whatever, but, you're trying to walk the fine line between, these are my ideas, and, at what point when you open your mouth and say something, do I decide it's not worth building a bridge anymore? And I think that's still something I'm trying to figure out for myself, while also maintaining, my sanity. Luckily enough, my parents are, my parents classify themselves as liberal, or leftist. I don't know to what extent that they feel that that's applicable to them, but a lot of what I'm talking to them about recently is, the genocide going on in the news, and how we differ on that, and how it's been very interesting when things come out of their mouth for me to go, at what point is it not worth building a bridge anymore? And I do like your accessibility ramp, kind of analogy. I thought that was funny, but I definitely appreciate, the idea and making sure that, boundaries are set, and the idea that you don't have to be friends with everyone. I appreciate that.
You don't. And it's totally okay. And I, like, Austin, you've called in before. I believe you and I talked about, when it should be okay to be violent politically. Didn't we talk about that before? Was that you?
Yes. Yeah. I called in once. I think that there was SKEPGEN 1.0, but yeah. Yeah.
We've got a lot in common. I absolutely feel you. And the thing is, no one is going to blame you. There's not a right or wrong answer, and the most hyperbolic version of this is if you were standing out in front of a burning building, and there was a child trapped inside of that burning building. You don't live there. You're not related to them. You're just walking by and you see a burning building. If you continue to walk home, no one is going to blame you. If you run in and try and save that child, that'd be awesome, but nobody had that expectation of you. If you succeed or don't succeed, people will go, you tried. That was heroic. Great. Nobody is going to stand on the other side of that and go, you did it wrong. In most cases, people withhold moral and ethical judgments. They withhold it because they understand that the choice can be hard, or we don't have all of the information that's informing the decision that person made. And because of that, I don't want you to sit there and beat yourself up because you may have made the wrong decision. If somebody was a piece of shit and you're just like, fuck that guy, I can't stand them, cool. Totally okay, and you are well within your rights. No one's going to blame you for it. And if you decide that to work arm in arm with an absolute just piece of crap human being, and you get something done that was better for, the community that you're in, no one's going to say, no, you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
We're more forgiving with each other than we are with ourselves. And so I think that you do need to have a little bit of compassion there, that when you're talking about this, whatever decision you make needs to be the right one for you. And that's all that matters.
Absolutely. I appreciate that very much.
Yeah. Austin, I have, just based off of our conversations, I can tell you're a pretty awesome human being, and I'm really glad that you watch, and I'm glad you called in.
Yeah, thanks, brother.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, yeah, no, I love the show. I appreciate everything you, V, and everybody else have done, and I've been watching you since Talk Even days, and I certainly appreciate how you've evolved, and I love that.
Thank you. I like how I've evolved too. I feel like I'm squishier, literally and physically.
Aren't we all, friend? Aren't we all?
If we're lucky. Take care, Austin. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
If I could just wrap real quick, a final thought on that is, I also think we all individually and collectively need to be more comfortable with people disagreeing. I think that we don't have to come to the same conclusion every single time about every single topic. It's okay that Eric and I have different viewpoints on how to address certain situations. It's okay that Eric says, hey man, look, my line is actually over here. And I go, hey, my line's over here. That's okay. That's good. That's valuable that you have people in your life where you go, hey man, I think X, Y, and Z. And they go, yeah, I think X and Y are fine, but that's Z there. I really think that can be problematic, And then you go, oh, that's interesting. Tell me. They tell you, and you go, yeah, I don't really see it like that. I still think Z is valuable, but hey, X and Y, right? Like we're on the same page, That's good. That's good that we have disagreements, you guys. Get comfortable with that uncomfortableness.
I honestly, and if you're really, really lucky, you can find people like Elliot and I who get joy out of those disagreements.
Right.
If somebody's got a serious problem and they want to tear me a new asshole for it, I welcome it. I absolutely enjoy those conversations, and so those can be fun. But
it's a skill. You can foster that. It's something. It just the same as, how do you know so much about logic, Eric? How do you have all this knowledge about philosophy, man? And it's a skill.
Yeah.
You develop it just the same as you develop juggling or being a plumber or any fucking thing else, y'all. Yeah. So foster it in your own life. Like, you can do that, and you can do that here because this is a great community with a bunch of people that love that shit already.
Yeah, get obsessed. You want to know how I know? Because I got obsessed with it, and now I get to have points where people reach out to me and ask me to advise on specific philosophical things that they're trying to communicate, which is just a joy. Awesome. Find those things that you can get obsessed about and do it. I got to tell you, SR, Sean, I'm watching in Colin's studio probably 5 times.
Trying.
Breaks my heart. So what I'm thinking...
Come to the after show.
That's it. I think that we should talk to Sean in the after show. Are you up for joining me in the after show?
Heck yeah, dude.
Cool. I also just want to say, I give a shout out to Caitlin, who hopped in to fill in for Bree, who was, really call screening sick, just to make sure that the show can happen. I cannot express how grateful I am, and grateful that Caitlin was able to come in and swoop in and help relieve Bree. I want to say on the air, thank you. Thank you to all of you guys. Now is usually the point in time where I read the super chats. But people have kind of just been involved in these conversations.
That's good.
And so I don't have super chats to read out, but I do want to say that SKEPGEN has a Patreon. It has been languishing a bit. Part of it is my fault, and that's because it takes me a while to catch up with it and I'm doing my best to rectify that. But if you do like the show and you do want to support it, and you can, consider going to patreon.com/skepticgeneration. That's patreon.com/skepticgeneration. Someday this show will pay for itself. In the meantime, it is a passion project. So guess what? I do get to vape on the show because I'm paying for it. You know, we're making this happen, and that is, you know. But if you like what we do, and you want to support it, every little bit helps. It's a lot to make this happen. It's a lot to do the lights. It's a lot to do the different programs, the streaming software, call-in studio. It's a lot to do the after work and all of that. And every little bit helps. Everyone else who, I'm just glad that you're here. The views, please, if you have not hit the like button, I forget to do this every time. And it kills me because people remember to say, you know, hit like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed, get notifications, all of that stuff. Yeah, when I did that more, we had a more consistent increase in subscribers. I just forget to ask. So, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. If you haven't hit the like button, that like button means that it will be more likely to pop up in other people's feeds. So, that helps us in a huge way as well.
Yeah, it takes no effort, you guys, okay? Eric's going to come at you nice and easy, okay? He's good cop, I'm bad cop, okay? So let me just lay it the fuck out. This takes no effort whatsoever. In the time I have been yelling at you, you could have easily liked and subscribed and shared this already, okay? Do that, and when the video is done, after you're done hanging out with us in the after show in Discord, okay? You come back to the damn video and you write a comment. And you can just even write something as simple as, SR yelled at me, so I'm doing this, okay? It's the easiest thing in the world. That's all you have to do. I don't know why you're not doing it right now. And honestly, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Oh,
you know,
God.
That's what it is. And so, you know, just do better, guys. Come on, do better. So,
oh no.
was
Okay.
Is that good? Is that?
Yeah. Negging the audience, I'm sure helps every time. I'm sure that's going to be great. Elliot, I love getting to hang out with you. I love getting to do the show together. You are so much fun. You and your I-mites.
That's right. It's not just me. I brought a whole panel today.
You did.
Just on my
if people want to follow other things that you do, how can they find you?
Yeah, I have a link tree. I often am just popping up on other shows and places. I'll be on Atheist Experience later today. I'm really thrilled to say I will also be hanging out with Objectively Dan on Zodanza, which is Objectively Dan and Prophet of Zod show that happens on Thursday. So this coming Thursday, I'll be there. But if you go to that link tree and you follow me on Twitter or whatever, you can see all the places that I'm at. But yeah, normally I'm just so lucky to get to hang out with a bunch of great people, and man, any freaking time, honestly, any freaking time you want me here, man, I will be here because I love you to death. I love being here. You're such a great dude, and anytime we get to spend together and laugh about stuff and help people, man, it means the world to me. I was waiting all week for this, and it definitely did not disappoint, man. It never does.
Thank you. I appreciate you, brother, and I will take you up on that. It's just fun. It's fun hanging out.
Yeah.
So I will see you in the Discord after show.
Yes, sir.
And all of you, I hope to see you in the Discord after show. If not, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And thank you for joining, and I'm glad we had this talk.